Hey Taurus, how's it going? My name is Dre, and this is your reading for July of 2017. If you want a reading, just email me. I already laid out the cards. I moved. So let's get started. We have Death, Princess of Wands in reverse, Ten of Wands in reverse, Tower in reverse, Three of Swords, Queen of Pentacles in reverse, Six of Cups in reverse, Five of Cups, Fool in reverse, and the Moon. Outcome, we have the Wheel. Additional card, we have Two of Swords. Okay. Just straight up Taurus, like Death. Scorpio is the opposite of you guys. And that's what Death is represented by. There are so many cards here that I feel like there is a definite ending to something, or an ending has already occurred. But it's an ending, it's completion that you haven't entirely reckoned with. Because this Five of Cups here, it's super emotional. It's sort of like you're very depressed right now. You're very grief-stricken came to mind. Whether or not it's dealing with grief or what, but I'm really getting the sense that some of you just cannot let go of something that happened. And you won't allow yourself a chance to refashion your present into something that is beneficial for you, something that is going to be healthy and fertile going forward. And I still feel like some of you are bound to obligation. You're bound to what you're used to. Your anxiety and your depression and your sadness is sort of taking control of everything. Most of the readings I've done for you guys have not been the most positive, in the sense that I get this feeling that you guys are really taking control of things. I always feel like that the wheel keeps turning, but you guys are still sort of where you are comfortable. You're still sort of sort of wallowing in the fact that something happened that might involve like a lover, soulmate relationship, or you're still hung up on the past, you're still hung up on nostalgia, good times. And all you can see around you is either you're burying your head in the sand, or all you can see around you is, I'm getting the feeling that a lot of you aren't even actively engaged in life right now, where you're sort of letting things kind of pass you by, where you're allowing yourself to sort of watch, again, as the wheel turns, because we have two tens here. What I will say is that you guys can't let things outside of you take control of what you know you have control over, of what you know you need to do. So that's where this Two of Swords, I feel like, is really coming in handy. I feel like some of you really don't want to make a wrong choice, or make a choice that is a risk, or do something where you feel like if you go to that extreme, you won't be able to come back. But the only way to test yourself is to go to that extreme anyway, whether it be emotional, whether it be like, just quitting your job, or, finding a job and then, quitting your job or whatever, monkey barring from one job to another, whether it's, whether or not you actually want to start your own sort of business, or whether you want to, I'm not really seeing anything like in terms of a relationship. It could be like you haven't allowed somebody to leave your mind, somebody that you probably had something for, or you're not allowing yourself the freedom of being able to restructure your life in the way that you want it. I'm going to pull another card. There has to be a way for you, Taurus, to not try to hide or deny any of your problems. Excuse me, we have the Four of Cups in reverse. And so I feel like there needs to be an impetus for you to come out of this emotional stagnancy. And it might be hard for you to even truly understand what that is. It can be anything. We have every suit represented here. So it really depends. I'm really drawn to this sword, though, So the Three of Swords, So I really feel like it's in terms of like communication. It's in terms of really talking about what makes you not able to sleep at night, what gives you probably haven't been sleeping well. You probably, in your dreams, you're dreaming about your biggest fears. And it could be directly related to you probably not being able to find somewhere to live, a new place to stay, being able to go out and sort of do your own thing because you are bound to some sort of obligation, whether familial or whether like in a love relationship. Either way, it's keeping you, I'm getting the sense of you just being locked in. And there's no joy here. I feel like most of the joy that you're finding right now is through partying. I don't know why I got that. Like partying or sex, the biggest vices. Scorpio's in the death card, so you're probably more attached to your scorpionic side, scorpionic shadow of indulging in all of your vices or in things that aren't really helping you in the day-to-day, and it's kind of throwing you off. You need to gain control of this, and you need to make a decision about whether or not you want to use this wheel for positive change. We're headed into eclipse season, and it's going to be a new moon in Leo and a full moon in Aquarius, and those energies square Taurus. So just like the full moon in Scorpio and the new moon in Taurus, during you guys' season, having to really come face to face with, probably people in your lives or aspects of yourself that you had sort of allowed yourself to become stagnant in, and not really understanding how you've been uncompromising or where other people have been uncompromising or too demanding. The same things are going to occur now during these eclipses. Are you actually putting an effort to bring, fruition, to bring your dreams to fruition, bring these aspects of yourself that nobody else really probably knows about, things that you keep hidden, things that you keep secret, desires that you don't share with anybody, because that's a very Taurus thing. You keep a lot of things to yourself. Scorpio as well. All of the fixed signs, really. And so it's all about how do you communicate that in a broader sense? How do you communicate that in a way to where it fits with your Taurian energy, which is literally seeing with your own eyes things that exist, things that you want, acquiring ways to sort of build the material life that you want, as well as the inner security in here. Taurus represents security. And maybe that's all that is right now. You guys feel really insecure. I feel like, 2017 is throwing a lot of signs off. Aries, Libra, Capricorn, Cancer, but you guys as well. I feel that really hard. And so the most important thing here is to not fear the unknown, to not fear that which you are not comfortable with, that which you are not familiar with. Don't lock yourself into too much of a rut to where, when things actually do really sort of, we have all these shifting energies. We have Jupiter is going to be switching signs soon. Saturn is about to come out of retrograde. Mercury retrograde is on the way in the middle of these eclipses. So it's like, have you adequately prepared yourself for these changes, or have you, again, put your head in the sand? Have you fully, adequately killed off anything that will not serve you going forward? Uranus will be in your sign next year. So I really feel like, Taurus's natural instincts, and it depends on how Taurian you are, but, pure Taurian energy is just unchanging. You would rather change the things that you can manipulate with your hands, the things that you can actually touch in your immediate environment. It's a very tactile sign. It's the second sign, so it's very primal. There's something very primal about you guys' nature. So it's like, what in your immediate environment, what in your immediate surroundings have sort of overstayed their welcome, or what has, what have you ignored that needs to be updated, that needs to be refurbished, that needs to be rejuvenated. And, I feel like the new moon in Leo will sort of ask you guys that, and the full moon in Aquarius will push you to make those changes. So whatever you guys, feel right now is working against you, understand that it's actually working for you. You just don't see it yet. You don't understand it. But you have to be willing. The only way you can understand it is to really go to where that pain is. Go to where that grief, that sorrow, that depression is. And pull yourself out of it. Really talk to people about this. Threes are so important. Threes are all about communication. The Three of Swords is kind of scary, but it's like, it's not, because it's all mental energy, because it is a sword. We've had our heart broken. We've had our dreams dashed. We've had, huge disappointments happen again and again and again and again. But we go through this because in the grand scheme of things, it literally means nothing. It feels like everything right now, but 10 years from now, you will learn, 10 years from now, 10 months from now, whatever, a year from now, you will understand that, oh, okay, this wasn't a huge deal, and I learned a lot from this, so, you'll learn to think about it in a different way. You'll learn to communicate about it in a different way. So you need to communicate about whatever this is, whatever this fear is, whatever this anxiety is, whatever this depression, this sadness, this confusion. Write about it. It's you're feeling this way for a reason. And it's possible for you to overcome it and transform it into something that is going to suit your reality. And I feel like out of every sign, Taurus needs that the most. Total security and total foundational support. So yeah, good luck with that, Taurus. And I will see you guys soon. Adios.